There is a dog barking its head off, which couldn't be more appropriate because when I make videos on this topic, I'm accused of being a hater and torturer and killer of all creatures other than human beings. So we're just gonna carry on and see if he settles down. So guys, today I wanted to talk about crazy vegans. And the reason I want to talk about it is that you may remember very recently I uploaded 2 videos on the subject of I'll never be a vegan, which was basically talking about how I would love to be a vegan, how I find it to be nutritionally and ethically right up my alley, but that my eating disorder and where I am in recovery prevents me from being able to adopt a vegan lifestyle due to issues of restriction and my eating disorder being very, very specific to control and restriction and cutting out entire food groups. So the reaction was either very loving and encouraging from vegans, and especially vegans who have gone through eating disorders, and particularly that set of people were lovely and encouraging. And there are a lot of vegans who came to my channel who found the video who had the response of, I've never had an eating disorder, so I cannot relate, but maybe if you put these things in place, you can contribute that way. And maybe don't say never, keep an open mind, you don't know where you're gonna be in 10 years. And I was like, tick, 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 love it, perfect. That's a beautiful response. It's encouraging, it's inclusive, it is non-abusive, it wasn't insulting, it wasn't personal, it was thoughtful, and there were even some suggestions for resources that I might find interesting, documentaries and books and literature online, all of which I've checked out, so it goes to show what happens when you have that approach. But there was another alarming but not uncommon, unheard of approach from vegans as well. So when I say crazy vegans, let me be clear, I am not talking about all vegans by any means. I have friends who are vegans, I know a lot of you guys are vegans. I think you can acknowledge within your community that the word crazy is something synonymous with militant, insulting, offensive vegans who exist in your community, and they do, and it's a problem. It's a problem for you more so than the person who's on the receiving end of the insults and the abuse, because you get marred with that stigma and that stereotype. But let me tell you, it's not just 1 or 2 of them out there. I have had to cleanse the comment section so many times. I have received a lot of emails. I've received Instagram messages calling me every name under the sun, which, you know, I get that that's part of the game here on YouTube. I am fairly impervious to it, especially when there is some humor in the idea that the formula seems to be starting off with an insult, a character assassination, in this case, very, very personal, uneducated, nasty comments about my mental illness being a character flaw or making me selfish. So they'll start with something really offensive. And then there'll be a very clear copy and paste, like a spam email, of all of this information about veganism and why veganism is the right choice for me. Does anyone else find that absolutely hilarious? That there is a marketing strategy which is basically synonymous with turning on the TV and seeing an ad of someone just pointing the finger at you through the TV and saying, hey asshole, you're a piece of shit, buy this product. There's a reason why no advertising exec would employ that approach, because it doesn't work. When you're exhibiting what's close to a sociopathic lack of compassion for your fellow human beings, they're not going to take you seriously when you're trying to exhibit a level of compassion for animals and calling people out for their lack of compassion for animals. The hypocrisy, the contradiction, it's too humorous to be able to take you seriously, and it makes you look like not just an asshole, but a huge hypocrite, because you're trying to further your cause. I'm not. You're the one who has all the information about why it's so important to bring people over to this vegan lifestyle, and yet you're doing everything in your power with this exclusive, elitist, abusive approach to alienate people from this cause. What that does when you attack somebody, especially somebody who is saying in that, who are you? Especially somebody who, as I was in that video, stated multiple times that I would love to be a vegan, that I have the utmost respect for vegans, that I would, if it was in my control, have been a vegan long before now. Somebody who wasn't being insulting towards the vegan community, who was as respectful as humanly possible whilst addressing why I couldn't become a vegan myself. So even to somebody who could potentially be encouraged to adopt your lifestyle, your approach of insulting and offending me has left such a poor taste in my mouth, as we see time and time again here on YouTube. Quite well-known militant vegans whose subscriber numbers are dropping by the minute. In the comment sections, when the militant crazy vegans, you know, come out of the woodwork, we see it doesn't work. It really doesn't. It sets you up for total failure in your recruitment to bring people over to a vegan lifestyle. I can't tell you how much it has impacted whether or not I'd ever want to be associated with the vegan community, to be perfectly honest. And you're the one who knows how important it is to recruit people. You're the one who knows how important it is to get the numbers of vegans to turn away from, you know, animal cruelty and from the dairy and the meat industry, and to inform people and educate people. And you think your best opener is to call that person the C word, or to use their mental illness as a character assassination, or to call them a triggered brat, or self-indulgent, or selfish, somebody who is clearly open to being educated, and that's your approach to try to recruit them. It's moronic. I can't take someone seriously who wants me to exhibit compassion, who cannot exhibit compassion themselves. That is never going to be effective. It makes you look like an idiot. That approach is received as if it's a spam email. It goes straight into the mental junk folder and then eventually ends up in the trash, and it's never read, it's never absorbed, because it's so vile and so impersonal, and it just is not something that you want to engage with. You only have to look at the basic psychology of marketing and advertising and trying to draw people into a cause to realize that this crazy vegan sect is working against themselves. And darling, it's your cause, it's not mine. I may be hurting it by being ignorant, uneducated, and eating meat, but you're hurting it with all the information and all the education and actively working against your own cause. You know, obviously this has sprung from people like Freelee, who are on this platform and have garnered attention from being controversial and inflammatory and insulting and offensive, very specifically to individuals, and shaming and humiliating them. But attention does not necessarily equate to action. It doesn't necessarily equate to numbers. Is it going to garner some increase in people joining? Yeah, some. Is it as effective as it could be? Absolutely not. For every vegan that creates, it also alienates a huge number of people like myself. So if you're taking cues from people like Freelee, take into consideration her subscriber count is on a rapid decline on a daily basis, and she's actually had to remake her entire approach and her entire image, because it got so toxic and so vile, and it was so clearly for furthering her own status, really. And when you look at all of these inflammatory, controversial vegan YouTubers, so much of their content is not even about educating people. It's about petty high school drama. And if you for a second think that that is helping the cause, you're as delusional as they are. They look like a pack of dickheads, and no one wants to belong to a pack of dickheads. Ditch the marketing strategy, do some research, speak to people about what is actually effective. Go and look at people like the Unnatural Vegan. I think she is fabulous. She is a critical thinker. She's smart as anything. She does her research. She is not afraid to speak out about what doesn't work within the movement. I'm gonna link a video below which basically states in a much better way what I just said and what my experience has been. So she does an overview of what doesn't work in trying to recruit vegans, especially online. An absolute shout out to those of you who left comments which were encouraging and inclusive and informative, rather than humiliating and denigrating. You were incredibly encouraging. And obviously the people who've gone through recovery who are also vegans, I appreciate your honesty and your insight. Those who are vegans who put their hand up and said, I've never had an eating disorder, so I can't relate to that. But consider this, or check out this resource, or make a contribution by having Meatless Monday, or not buying products like, you know, buy soy milk, which I already do, but don't, you know, buy leather, all those sorts of approaches. That was great. I was like, I can totally do that, because that could be a stepping stone towards me one day becoming a vegan. So guys, that was something I just wanted to get off my chest, because I'm not afraid to talk about that stuff. Because the whole point of this channel is to be inclusive and to say to people, you know, I'm not a vegan who is also in recovery. There's a lot of that here on YouTube, and there's a lot of shame associated with not being involved with that. So it's okay, I'm not either. If you're not, don't feel bad. We're all doing what we can with what we have, and especially in this recovery community, do what you gotta do to stay alive. And if that means not being a vegan, there are worse things I could be doing. So yeah, I just wanted to touch on that because I think that it is too common now. There's just this, it's gone rabid, like it's out of control. The behavior is out of control and it's unacceptable, and it is not justifiable for any reason. And those vegans who say, I don't care if I upset you, well, you should, because you're contributing to the problem you're advocating to change. Anyway guys, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already, remember to hit subscribe. I'm so touched by every single comment that was left on my last video. You guys are, I'm not gonna cry again, you guys are unbelievable and such an incredible support network for me, and I hope for each other. And I'm super excited about what's coming up, and I'll be sharing that with you. I think it's going to be filmed as well, so I'll be able to show you some snippets of what actually happens on the day. And yeah, I'm so fired up. Like, I'm so ready to make this basically like my life's work and my career as soon as I can figure out how the hell I actually do that and survive and can put food on the plate. Might not be vegan food. Sorry about it. Sorry, I'm gonna help myself. So guys, I will be back on Wednesday with a Warrior Wednesday video. My dad gets here from the States tonight. We're going out for dinner. So I'll see you guys this Wednesday. In the meantime, as always, much love and take care. Bye guys.